Hey guys, so we decided we're gonna do a vlog of our wedding gig today, which is in Long Beach Island. It's a short wedding from 11:30 to 5:30. So we're gonna show like kind of behind the scenes of like what it's like to do a wedding gig, and also like show you how to use flash and like all those other things. If it's on a beach, then I think it'll be okay, but I think you're gonna be cold because you don't have a jacket.
Yeah, I'm
it's
freezing. I was not prepared.
60 something.
I missed the turn.
Usually when we go to weddings, we have to pass like all these small towns like in the middle of nowhere. It's interesting to see the sights though, because we're so used to like the city, living in Philadelphia and everything. But it's interesting. I like seeing places like this, and then when the music's on, it's like a different vibe.
We work for Jade Studios, which is obviously a wedding photography / videography company. I've been working for them for like a month or two now. How long have you been working for them?
Since I'd say like the end of July.
So like 4 months.
Yeah.
3-4 months. We get sent out. We're just the photographers and the videographers. We don't do any of the editing or anything like that,
Yeah.
but we do the on-site shooting.
In the beginning, we did shadow gigs. I did 2 shadow gigs. I did one for photography and one for video, so that I'd be able to like navigate all of the aspects of the company. Wedding gigs are really difficult in the beginning when you don't know what to do and you need to like figure out how to use flash and like how to adjust your ISO, your aperture, and your shutter immediately. It's not as easy as people would think. It can be high stressful depending on bride or groom, bride and bride, or groom and groom. It is really stressful if they're stressed. And a lot of people don't take that into consideration. And when you have to direct people and you have social anxiety or anything like that, it can be like extremely difficult
to get everyone together.
Yeah, and if it's a huge party, you have to be able to like put them together and like do a bunch of stuff, and
it's all about assuming control and assuming authority over the crowd. But sometimes that can be a little hard, especially if people don't listen. It really depends. Like there's times when they don't hire us for both video and photo. Sometimes they'll hire us for just the photo or just the video, and then they'll have a separate outside person do the other thing. And when you have those people, those are usually people they're closer with, that they either know or that they've been working with for a while, and then they'll kind of leave you in the background and they won't listen to anything you say, and they'll only listen to anything the other photographer or videographer says, which can be kind of annoying, but it's just something you gotta deal with, and you eventually figure out like certain things you can do or certain ways you can kind of get around that stuff. But
yeah, I feel like when you just work for a company, you're not as connected to the clients as you would want to be. Whereas if you were doing it independently, you'd be obviously more connected. You would know the family more. You would know who the parents are and how the setup would be. You know that in advance. And I've found that a lot of the photographers that they hire when we are doing video, they usually do the engagement photos as well. So they've known them throughout their journey from the beginning. And so it causes a lot of stuff that we have to deal with, because then we have to figure out everything else on our own once we get to the location. Whereas they kind of already know everything. So we're kind of left in the background, like Julian said. But you kind of learn as you go.
So I guess we'll just show you what it's like to do our job from our perspective, since most people don't actually know what that's like.
True.
Should be interesting. I guess we'll see you guys when we're closer, when we get there. Deuces.
Bye. So today we aren't doing getting ready shots like we normally do. Julian's about to explain how we kind of work when it does come to getting ready shots of the bride and groom with accessories and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm Julian, obviously, and I mainly do video for the company. I have trained in photography, and I have also done solo photography with the company, but I mainly do video because that's just more what I'm used to, and that's more what my boss likes to send me out to do. It's pretty straightforward. You kind of go through the day as they would. You just kind of want to capture
the beginning.
Yeah, so you basically just want to capture everything, but usually when we start off, like Erika said, we get to the hotel or sometimes the house. It really depends. Usually it's a hotel though they like to get ready in, because they're usually either not close to where they live, or it really depends. But we go there with them, and it's a plus if the bride and groom are in the same hotel, but sometimes they won't be. But we usually go in there, get the jewelry. We like to get close-up shots. With video, you want to focus more on panning and tilting. That's the main traditional style we go for. It's really easy, especially if you know what you're doing. It's just pretty simple, straightforward. You want to capture pans, tilts, you want to get her doing her hair. The thing about video that's kind of different from photography is that instead of just being a single frame, you're capturing a whole moment. So you can like take a photo of the rings as many times as you want, but it kind of becomes repetitive after a while, versus like video, you can angle them a different way, you can do all kinds of movements with the camera, and same with her getting her hair done. You can take a picture of her getting her hair done, and after a while it's just gonna get, you know, the same picture. So as long as you capture the right image, it's fine there. But for video, you kind of want to capture the whole moment in its like essence and how it's going, the whole atmosphere basically. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what video is mainly for, is to capture the memory as it's happening. We hang up the dress in a nice spot if she's not already in it, which hopefully she's not. And then we hang that up and get the jewelry and stuff like I said. And then typically we usually do the bride first, but if they request that we go to the groom first, then we will. We usually do the bride first because they're usually getting ready before the groom, and the groom only takes like 20 minutes to get ready, versus the bride could be like up to an hour or more. So we'd like to get in there and get as many shots as we can of her getting ready. And then the groom is pretty simple. We head over there, get the suit, the shoes, the watch, anything like that, cologne, anything they have special that they want captured. Same thing, pans, tilts, and then we get the best man and his groomsmen, getting him ready, dressing him up and everything like that, and kind of just looks good. It's pretty simple with the groom. It's a little more advanced, I should say, for the bride, because you have to do more things to make it more interesting. And that's just the beginning. So from there on, we go to the ceremony and we finish out stuff from there. Alright guys, so we're on location right now in Long Beach. As you can see, we got the beach in the background. Right now, Erika is doing the photography. As you can see, she had her camera on, she was just doing that. We're getting shots of the rings and the jewelry. Like I said, we usually do that first. Typically what we like to do is set up the camera, and then we usually get the jewelry, the dress, which is right over there, the bouquet, and like I said, the rings. Typically we set them up like this on top. If we don't have the bouquet, or for some reason they don't want the bouquet or whatever, we can usually set them up on the table or a nice little edge, or sometimes they'll even have a nice box that has a really personal message on there, which we usually can put the jewelry and stuff on top of there. This is what we do first because the bride is still getting ready and the groom is probably hopping in the shower just about now, so we like to get that out of the way because it kills time and it also gives us the shots that we need to get started. Alright guys, so sorry for the wind, but we just finished doing getting ready shots of the bride. Groom's getting ready right now, so we're going to get in there soon. But just wanted to update you. Right now we do a general shot of decorations. Usually we do this at the reception, but since the reception is at the same place as the ceremony, we're getting all that out the way right now. And yeah, pretty simple. Just going through the day, like we said. The ceremony starts soon, so we're going to be heading over there. Going to get some drone shots of the beach. The ceremony's down there. We would show you the clients and all that stuff, but they're not our clients, and client privacy and all that does, so can't really do that. But yeah, we'll keep you guys updated.
So sometimes our clients ask us as well to do drone shots. So this is Julian waiting for the drone to warm up, and then he's going to take off and take some shots.
So guys, with the drone, a few things you want to watch out for is if you're not experienced flying it, if you have your own obviously, I mean this doesn't apply if you don't, but if you have your own, you want to watch out for flying near people, especially if you're not experienced, because it can be a little hard to control with orientation if you're still learning. I usually typically stay away from people, or I just fly above them, because you never know, some people might not realize that the fan blades spin really fast and they can definitely cut human skin, so I would stay away from that. And structures, because if you crash into a structure, more likely than not the drone will break, not the structure, so just watch out for that. We're going to take off from here, but I'm pretty used to flying everything near places, so I'll be fine just taking off, and then we'll be good to go. so if you guys can see, I can see a camera view of everything on there. It's kind of hard to tell. Here, I got you. It's kind of hard to tell, but I can see the beach and everything like that, and that's typically how I can control the drone when I can't see it. Because at a certain point when you fly it too far from you, you're not going to be able to see where it's at. But I just want to watch it, and we'll get some shots of everything down there in a second.
So I wanted to go over how to adjust lighting to flash. I know it's literally outside, but I just wanted to show you how to adjust in do's and don'ts to flash. So you never want to go above 300 for your shutter. I did that earlier and I was like, what the heck is going on? But it won't capture the flash in time. And then when you do ISO you can change as little or as much as you need to, depending on how you're going to edit your shot later. But for our company, we kind of do higher ISO so that it's more white, because we like white in our shots. And then for aperture, you want to keep it as low as possible, just so that you get blurry backgrounds and you get your subject in focus. I don't know how other flashes work for other companies, but for our flash, we never want to go above a 3 or a 4 for the flash, because then the battery will drain a lot faster and you won't get the flash to go off when you need it to.
Alright guys, so we're headed down to the ceremony now. As you can see, I'm just the only videographer, so I have to carry both cameras. But what we do is we like to set up the one camera in the front. Usually I set that one up at the prime lens because it's up close. You don't really need zoom on that. Set it up in the front right next to the bride. We usually point it at the bride because the bride's most the important part of the ceremony usually. And then we have the other camera in the back of the aisle on the left or the right side. Typically the right side because the bride stands on the left. Then we just zoom in, get like a medium shot of them. And Erika does the photos, so she kind of walks around and just takes photos wherever necessary. So we'll set up and we'll see you guys in a bit. Alright guys, so this is our setup for the wedding today. At least for video, we have the camera set up right in front where the bride's going to stand. We're pointing right at her. And then this camera over here is going to capture them in a medium shot. Typically we put this like in the back, but we don't want to put it in the middle because they have to walk up obviously, so we capture that. And typically when they're doing walking with the bridal party, I'll pan from them until they walk to the front and just do that over and over again until the bride comes down. And then we'll just leave it there. And then zoom in and capture everything.
So for me, I usually stand about here just because my lens isn't enough to zoom. So I usually stand here, but since it's a small ceremony, I'm gonna stand about right here, and get wide shots, especially with the beach in the back.
Of marriage between husband and wife. We ask that you will bless this wedding like that you have blessed the wedding of us.
So currently they're behind me. We just finished the ceremony and now they're doing drone shots of them walking on the beach. It's not usually what we do, but we want to do something special for this couple because they're really in love. So I'm gonna have some clips of him working with the drone. And yeah, you get to see some cool stuff. I also wanted to say that right now is cocktail hour. Usually we do not shoot during cocktail hour because no one really likes pictures of people eating. This is usually when we take our small little break. We get some food, and we also let the bride and groom get to see their guests and stuff. And then after that is usually a reception, so people are gonna do toasts and stuff, but they already did that. It's a little different than a traditional wedding. They did their toast, they did their first dance. Now everybody's upstairs eating and hanging out, and then they're gonna go up there, and then I think the last thing is cutting the cake. It's a shorter wedding than normal, so things are a little bit different, but that's a little summary of what is going on and what has happened. You can see the drones right there. It's so interesting to see it up in the air because it's such a different perspective than when it's actually down here or taking pictures down here. It's so different. And there's Julian. So we just cut the cake, and now we're having everyone come outside for a giant group picture, and then he's gonna use the drone and get a shot. And also we record all the things we do with the cameras for the video if they request video to be a part of their package. I forgot to mention earlier, but whenever you're shooting indoors, you always want the flash coming up, and the best thing is if the room has white ceilings, because then the light can bounce, which is why your shutter speed can never go past 300, because then it won't capture the flash fast enough. And if once you adjust everything, if it's still really dark, you can pull out the white card, and the white card will diffuse and bounce light from above and in front. So right now my shutter speed is at 160, my ISO is at 80, and my aperture is at 5.6. And if I take the picture anywhere random, the light bounces and it captures it really pretty. So we finished at like 5:30, it's 6 o'clock right now. We went to get some food, and now we're driving home. We got tipped, which was unexpected, low-key, but super cool, super fun. We usually don't get tipped. Don't expect to get tipped, because most of the time you won't get tipped.
It really depends on the couple.
Yeah.
I feel like the more like snobby kind of couples, they usually don't tip when they have more money. At least that's the way it seems. But then the more nice couples who are on a budget, who are totally open about the fact that they've been spending a lot of money, they will tip us better than those, like I said, those other people. That's usually how it goes. If tip us better, if at all. So, you know, we were totally fine, willing to stay a little bit after if the couple needed. Granted, they finished everything at our wedding early, so we got to leave like 10 minutes early, which is nothing, but still, it's better than staying there the whole time. But you want to make sure that your clients know that like they don't have to worry about you kind of just being like, well, I'm sorry that you didn't do this on time because I gotta go. Because at the end of the day, like, what's an extra 15 minutes going to cost you versus what is it going to cost them, you know? You want to think about that, and you want to think also what's going to make them happy, because especially if, let's say, if you're doing it independently, that's not the last time you're going to see them or contact them. You're still going to have to be in contact, and if you kind of screw them over at the end, then they're not going to be happy with you the rest of the time, and they're definitely not going to recommend you to anyone else. So you want to make sure you build a good network and just make sure people know you, because then that way people will recommend you to other people, like I said, and then you can get more clients and end up making more money off of like the extra 15-20 minutes that you might have stayed longer at that one time. So you got to think in the long term and just make sure that you end up leaving with the client happy.
Knowing how to work your camera is extremely important in general. Knowing how to change ISO, aperture, and shutter immediately depending on setting is essential to knowing how to do wedding photography or any type of indoor photography for events. I didn't know that in the beginning, and I had to learn immediately how to do it. are like some restrictions that help. So your shutter shouldn't be over 300, and your aperture, you want it as low as possible, and your shutter should never be less than 125 because of movement and the flash. So there's restrictions and stuff, and you don't want your ISO too high because then it gets really grainy.
Typically with ISO, if I'm doing photo or even video, I typically stay within the 1600, depending on the setting. If there's a lot of light, then you don't need it. But if it's a low light setting, 1600, 3200 max. But if it's super dark, then you're just gonna have to go with the 6400. There's no other choice. Typically, if you're in a venue, you can ask the workers, or if you're in someone's house, you can ask them, hey, can we turn on some lights in here? And they usually have no problem. Just tell them that it'll look better for the pictures, and 99% of the time they're going to want to do it because they want the pictures to come out good.
Use your white card, which is the top card on the top of the flash if needed. It doesn't hurt anyone's eyes, but if you were to turn the flash, then it would. So always make sure your flash is up, and if the ceilings are black, that is like the worst thing that could possibly happen to you, and you can't control it.
Or if they're really high too.
Yeah, if they're really high, then you want to adjust your shutter a little bit faster. But that also comes with a lot of practice and time. Just be patient with yourself. You're still like learning how to do this, and it is not an easy thing to learn. You're putting yourself out there emotionally and physically, because you're putting yourself to do things that you're not used to, and you're also putting yourself in front of a lot of people that you're not used to. So just keep that in mind. It is hard at first, but it really does get easier with time. And this is probably like almost my 20th wedding, I would say. And it's gotten a lot easier. I literally have no social anxiety getting in front of people. I don't really care if I'm in their way. Not always, but most of the time, if you need to get in their way, then you gotta do it in order to get the shots. But most of the time, they're not even gonna be mad anyway. They're like, you gotta get the shot, you gotta get the shot. Don't hesitate, do what you gotta do, and just be patient with yourself, because that's like one of the most important things.
The one rule I have to say about filmmaking that kind of comes across well into everything, as far as weddings and everything else, is that you can get away with bad visuals, but you can never get away with bad audio. Like, bad audio is so distracting that it'll almost certainly turn people off from your video and not make them want to watch it. So good audio is key to keeping the client interested and, obviously making for a good video overall. And yeah, I think that's about it.
I want to say thank you guys for watching. If you made it all the way till the end, we try to make it as interesting as possible, but I know weddings aren't that interesting, and learning basic stuff.
Especially if you're not doing it. Because in the moment, it's very stressful.
Yes.
If you don't know what's going on, or if you don't have an idea, it's very stressful. Even when you do, you have to be on point at all times. So.
Exactly. So I just want to thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we make more videos like this in the future. If you guys have any questions or anything, just leave it in the comments, and continue to support. Wedding photography is hard, and I just want you guys, if you guys are interested in doing it, to enjoy yourselves, because it's a different experience, and you'll learn yourself and your camera and all of the other stuff so much better. I feel so much more connected to my camera ever since I started.
Yeah, same.
Oh my god, my camera's my best friend, like literally. So thank you guys again. Check us out next time.
See you guys in the next one, hopefully. Deuces.